You scroll past 100 faces a day and you trust some of them instantly. A stranger on a dating app, a new coworker in a meeting, a face flashing across a screen for less than a second. You have never spoken to this person. You know nothing about their life. And yet some part of you has already decided whether to let your guard down. That decision happens before you even realize you made one. The real answer for why is far stranger than instinct or gut feeling. It is a leftover survival system running quietly underneath every interaction you have today. Your brain is not actually looking at a face when you meet someone new. It is scanning it, searching for clues, searching for danger. This happens in a fraction of a second, faster than conscious thought, faster than language. Long before you can describe a person's eyes or their smile, a hidden part of your mind has already filed them under safe or unsafe. Why would evolution build something so fast and so blunt? Because for most of human history, a wrong guess could kill you. Psychologist Alexander Todorov at Princeton University ran a series of experiments that exposed just how fast this judgment happens. He showed people unfamiliar faces for 1/10 of a second, not even long enough to consciously process a feature. And still, participants rated each face on trustworthiness, competence, and even likability with remarkable consistency across different viewers. 1/10 of a second was enough for the brain to render a verdict. Todorov's research suggested this judgment wasn't really about reading character at all. It was about reading threat. Think about what that means. You are not seeing a personality when you glance at a stranger. You are seeing a shape your ancestors' brains learned to associate with safety or harm thousands of generations ago. Long before written language, before agriculture, before permanent settlements, your ancestors lived in small, tightly bonded groups. Everyone in the group was known. Every face was familiar. An unfamiliar face appearing at the edge of camp was not neutral information. It was a signal. That signal needed an answer fast, because hesitation could mean an ambush, a threat to children, or competition for scarce food. There was no time for careful, rational analysis. There was only time for a feeling. So the brain built a shortcut. A set of features got linked to safe. Rounder faces, wider eyes, certain expressions associated with warmth. Other features got linked to danger, angular jaws, narrowed eyes, expressions resembling anger or contempt. None of this was a perfect read on someone's actual character. It never needed to be perfect. It only needed to be fast enough, often enough, to keep the group alive. This is where it gets stranger. Researcher Nalini Ambadi, working at Tufts University, studied something she called thin slicing, the ability to make accurate-seeming judgments from very brief observations, sometimes just a few seconds of silent video. In one well-known study, Ambadi found that students who watched silent clips of teachers lasting only a few seconds rated those teachers similarly to students who had spent an entire semester with them. A few seconds of body language and expression carried almost as much weight as months of actual experience. Why would a few seconds tell you anything real? Because your brain was never trying to gather complete information. It was trying to gather enough information to act. Now think about how this plays out today. You open a dating app. You see a photo for less than 2 seconds before swiping. You walk into a job interview, and the interviewer has already formed an impression before you finish your handshake. You meet someone at a party, and within moments, you have decided whether you like them. None of this is calculated. None of this is your conscious mind weighing evidence point by point. It is the same ancient threat detection system, repurposed for a world your ancestors could never have imagined. There is a twist hiding inside this system, though, and it is the most important part. The same researcher, Robert Zionk, who studied what is known as the mere exposure effect, found something almost contradictory to the danger response. Zionk showed that the more often people were simply exposed to a stimulus, a face, a sound, a symbol, the more they came to like it, even with zero additional information. Familiarity itself bred preference, not because the thing became objectively better, simply because the brain had seen it before, and what is already known is statistically safer than what is unknown. So your trust isn't really built on character at all. It's built on pattern matching against memory and instinct, stacked on top of a system that rewards the familiar and punishes the unfamiliar. A stranger who happens to resemble a face you trust, a parent, a childhood friend, a kind teacher, will register as more trustworthy. Not because of anything they have done, only because of who they resemble. This explains something deeply uncomfortable about how modern society works. First impressions in hiring, in dating, in politics, in courtrooms are shaped by signals that have almost nothing to do with the truth of a person's character. Multiple studies following up on Todorov's work have found that snap judgments of trustworthiness can influence real outcomes, voting decisions, hiring choices, even courtroom sentencing patterns, often with no awareness from the people making those decisions. A system built to protect a small group of humans from physical danger is now quietly shaping decisions in boardrooms, ballot boxes, and bedrooms. Does that mean you are powerless against it? Not entirely. Once you know the shortcut exists, you can slow it down. The instant reaction still fires. You cannot turn it off, but you can choose not to let it be the final word. Psychologists who study impression formation consistently find that deliberate, extended interaction can override the snap judgment almost entirely. The first 10 seconds may say one thing. The next 10 conversations can say something completely different, if you let them. There is something almost touching about this whole hidden system once you really sit with it. Your ancestors did not survive because they were always right about who to trust. They survived because they were fast. Speed, not accuracy, kept them alive long enough to have descendants. And one of those descendants is sitting right now, scrolling through faces on a screen, feeling an instant pull of trust or unease toward a stranger who has never said a single word to them. You inherited this. You did not choose it. Every swipe, every handshake, every glance across a room is shaped by a system built for a world that no longer exists, judging dangers that mostly no longer threaten you. So the next time you feel an instant, wordless reaction to someone you've just met, pause for a moment before you trust it completely. That feeling is not wisdom. It is an echo. A leftover alarm system from a world of small fires and unfamiliar footsteps at the edge of camp, still running quietly inside you, still trying to keep a version of you that no longer exists alive. You trust strangers in an instant. The real answer for why was never about character at all. It was about a survival shortcut so old, so deeply embedded, that it now decides who you swipe right on before you've even read their name.